Hello, Brother Steve, for another great Brother Steve Skype interview. You know what? I'm here with my longtime friend. I've been knowing this brother almost 20-some-odd years, and we're so glad to have him on Brother Steve Skype Tyme interviews. You know, we do the great interviews, Brother Steve Skype Tyme interviews. You want me to interview you? Call me up toll-free, 888-998-4677. We can take your interview and make it go viral around the world. My great friend, Pastor Frank Robinson. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm so glad to be with you and glad to see what you're doing, and I hope to introduce something nice to the world.
Amen. Such a joy to have you on our Skype Tyme interview today. Now, reason why he is significant because, you know, we have a lot of great things going on, and as you know, many of you know Black History Month is coming up very, very soon, but he has a very significant role with Black History Month and a lot of great things that he does. Brother Frank Robinson, Pastor Frank Robinson, is in an interracial relationship. Absolutely. Now, you know, they say, well, they mean a white guy married to a black woman and all that and then some and much more. You know what? It's absolutely fine because when you are in love and you find the right woman for you, no matter what you got to go through, you do what you got to do to keep that woman in your heart. Pastor Frank, let me ask you this question very quick as we keep going on our Skype show today. Tell me about some of the things you had to deal with being married to an African-American woman, but not just in California where you were in the deep South. Talk about that for me real quick.
All right. The Lord had sent me to Alabama, and I wasn't there very long, and the Lord told me, that's your wife. And it was just like the old people used to say, the Lord will tell you.
Right.
And in that context, there was in one of the places where we had an outreach, there was a black man that was involved with a white woman. They had just killed him. They had just lynched him. They cut his head off, excuse me for saying it. They cut his private part off, put it in his mouth, and hung him in a tree in one of the places where we had an outreach. And I went to that place, and I preached under a tree. But again, the Lord said, that's your wife. And it was almost like, Lord, you're kidding.
Now, hold on. You mean they done lynched a man, they done cut him up in multiple parts, hung him under a tree, and now you, the white man, looking at a black woman, and the Lord said, that's your wife. I'm sure you did like this and looked up at that tree and said, am I the next person on that branch? But you kept the faith and you kept going.
Oh, yeah, the Lord took care of us. It was a big scandal. I understand that they were talking about it in businesses and the college and so forth. I went to hand a tract to a guy on the street. He said, I know you. He said, you're the one getting married. And I kind of felt like Moses where he said, surely this thing is known. And so we didn't know they were going to shoot us or blow up the church, and we got married. But I took her out of the state for about a week and let it die down a little bit. But it was a big scandal. And when my first child came along, I thought about it, and I took my wife across the state line. He was born in Florida, so nobody would kill him. And
so you mean when your first child was born, you had to take your child and your wife across the state line to Florida so they would not get killed?
Absolutely. My wife actually used to work at the medical center, and when she married me, they changed towards her. The baby doctor in that town had a bad reputation. Already one child had been killed, I understand, while he was examining a woman, burst the water, and another child, I understand he had disfigured, and I added that up, and it was good to get out of Dodge for a little bit. And my first child was born.
Get out of Dodge. Talk about getting out of Dodge. I would have bought me a Dodge car, jumped in that thing and ran like crazy, all that stuff going on. Go on, Pastor Frank.
No, I got to tell you, the Lord sent me to Alabama, and I was ready to die in Alabama. I wanted to please God, and I knew the Lord had told me to go, and so that's what I did. And I was thankful. I had waited on the Lord for a wife. I was almost 30, got married. I was all by myself, and so I'm very thankful for the wife God gave me. But let me just tell you this. What it began to do was affect my own sense of mortality. When I was younger and I would preach on the street, my life would be threatened, and I would go out ready to die. It's like, what else you got? You know.
Wow.
There's one man that told me he was going to kill me, and he got saved and filled with the Holy Ghost. He's a nice man now. He's still in church, you know. And so I had this wonderful experience. But when I got married and when I became a father, I had to adjust my paradigm because I began to realize if somebody does kill me, when I was single, hey, I'm going to go be with the Lord. What else you got?
Right.
But when I was married, then my wife would be a widow. My children would have no father. And so that affected the way I calculated my risks. But beyond that, I thought, now, if something does happen to me, who's going to say the things that a father should say to his children. And
Correct.
so as my children came along, with each of them, I started a book. And this book got a little further along than the others, but I started writing letters. And I wasn't writing to my son like he was a little boy. I was writing to him like he was a grown man, so that when he was a grown man, he could have this book.
So wait a minute, hold on. You were writing letters to your son years ago before your son was older. So you were in the process of putting all that together early in the day.
Oh yeah, he was a little boy. I prayed my way out of Alabama. I got out of Alabama, but I started writing these letters. And of course, in America, a biracial child is not identified by what they are, but
Right.
they're identified by what they're not. Because to the black kids, although overall they may be included among black children, to the black kids, you're really not one of us. And to the white kids, you really aren't one of us.
Right.
And so a human being's sense of identity is so important. A biracial child's sense of identity is even, I think, greater or more greatly assaulted. So my presence, how I spoke to him, how I built into a sense of who you are, I made it so, Brother Steve, in my communication, that he did not have to deny either sides of who you are. I told him in the book, I said, you're a river. And I
Wow.
said, you do not have to deny the various creeks and streams that caused your existence. I gave him, it was okay to be who he was.
Right. So now you wrote letters to your son,
Yes.
let's say 30 years prior to him reading these letters. So as a baby, you were writing letters to him. So when he got older, he's able to read these letters.
Absolutely. I was
I mean, that's
discipling
totally
him.
amazing. That's totally unheard of. So basically, you were writing into his future before he was able to read, basically. And now, here it is, 30 years later, you present the letters that you wrote to him when you were a younger man.
Absolutely. It was, you know what, in the very beginning of the book, I'm a new father. At the very end of the book, it was 25 years, at the very end of the book, I'm a brand new grandfather. And so these things are taking place, and there's a message of perseverance. It transcends race. This is for, let me show you the book right here. This is the cover of the book. It's called Letters to a Mixed Race Son.
Okay.
And Brother Steve, it's for everybody. It's for anybody. These are love letters. And they speak of things in life beyond race, beyond identity. Of course, that's there. But it deals with things like his character. What kind of man are you going to be? It deals with things like perseverance. And how do you deal with discouragement and disappointment in life? How do you deal with criticism? What is a man supposed to do? And these things are addressed in the various things that I experienced, a part of it. One of the nights was when the riots broke out. I was on Crenshaw when the riots broke out in '92.
Wow.
And I went home, and his little brother, who was a little boy at the time, 5 years old or something, was trying to persuade me not to go into the riot. And so I get to tell him about how brave his little brother was and so forth. But the letters, I think, transcend race. I think they transcend family. These are the kind of things that will bless anybody. And I've got these wonderful reports. I'll tell you about that. But,
Now, let me say this to you before we wrap up our interview. Why would somebody want to read your book? These are letters you wrote to your son. So why would I, as a consumer, want to read your book? Why does anybody else want to read your book?
that is really the question. Well, I'll tell you what.
I mean, that's why I asked the question. That's why I want to give you the question.
You got the job and you get it is the type of thing that will both transcend my family. It will speak to you. It will find you. And it will make you feel loved. It will minister to you in ways that might surprise you. I'm finding out where there is a colonel in the Air Force that would get up by himself, read one letter at a time, and he contacted me. And he told me how these things minister to him. Well, it turns out this highly trained man, this man that leads other people, was raised by his mother. And there was a place in his life where someone should have said these words to him. And somehow he was able to hear them in a personal way. And those kind of reports just really, really bless me. I would like it, if you don't mind, Brother Steve, would you mind if I read one of the letters to you?
You got to read that letter real quick before we go off the air. Go ahead, read that letter, Pastor Frank.
All right, well, I'm going to give you the next to the last one. You know what? I'm going to give you one before that. Dear son, this was from March in 1993. Dear son, of the many friends that I have made, it seems that only a few can see into the identity struggles and disenfranchisement that I personally wrestle with from time to time. I suspect that your identity struggles will be even deeper than mine due to your biracial conception. I have to not allow extraction of either ancestry from your perception of yourself. Africans came before you, Europeans and Americans came before you. You are a river not required to denounce the various streams and creeks that caused your existence. The issues and questions of justice and race relations are so much bigger than I am. This is bigger than me. I want to do the will of God in my generation. I'm unable to go back in time or forward in time. Only in the now can we act. In a conversation we had the other day, I surprised your mother. I said that if I could have somehow prevented slavery by cutting off my right hand, I would do it. She attempted to correct me by saying, you mean your left hand, because as a skilled artist, surely my right hand could not have been meant. But I would give my right hand. I would give my life, I would die. That could somehow have prevented slavery and the horrors it inflicted. Who are my people? The sons and daughters of God, they are my people. Come, take your place with me. You know my heart's well, these are not empty words, but truth. Don't allow the truth to be trivialized by any dilettante, any sloganeer, or any passing fellow. Come and take your place with me. I am a father who very much loves and treasures his son. You are my love dad.
Wow, that's a wonderful. Now, let us know, where can we get that book at? So anybody else want to read that book, where can get that? And let me say this one quick thing. You're also a professional artist. That picture of the president behind you, you painted that photo, and you also painted the cover of your book. Where can we find that book at?
All right, thank you so much. This book is on Amazon.com. You can get it on Kindle. You can get it at BarnesandNoble.com. They sell it online for Barnes and Noble. They don't have it in the store at this moment, but you can get it online at those places and other places. You can just Google Letters to a Mixed Race Son. I've got clips on YouTube where you can get them for free. And I hope they bless many, many people. Thank you so much.
So how can people reach out to you if they want to call you? Can they go to your website? Can they email you? If somebody else wants you to come speak about being a father with mixed children, and y'all know he got pretty kids too now. I'm telling you that right now. So where can people reach out to you for more details and information?
Thank you so much. Well, I've got a YouTube channel, youtube.com/Frankie Robinson Jr.
Okay.
I also, you can email me at pastorrobinson@AOL.com, PastorRobinson@AOL.com. Just let me know.
Who wrote the foreword to that book?
Bishop Charles Blake.
Bishop Charles Blake, one of the greatest leaders in Christendom.
Yes.
Pastor Frank, God bless you. Thank you so very much for joining us today. I'm Brother Steve. No, you can't lean back. That's my thing. I'm the one that lean back. That's part of my logo. All right. I'm Brother Steve. Thank you so very much for this Skype time. A great Skype interview. Next time, same place, same location. We'll see you here. Until next time, God bless you. I'm Brother Steve. Hit me on my website, brosteve.com, or call me toll free right here, 888-998-4677. God bless you.